relying on me for money, never lifting a finger for housework or childcare. My younger husband Oliver would go out with his friends every weekend. I mean, he's young. What can you do? That was my excuse until I found out that he was actually going on trips with his affair partner, not his friends.
I'm gonna crash at my buddy's place in Chicago for a bit. He just moved there for work. Take care of the spring cleaning while I'm gone, will ya?
That was the lie he told me before leaving for his scandalous trip. Furious, I decided to kick him out, belongings and all, while he was away. What happened to him next was something neither of us could have predicted. My name is Sophia, a 29-year-old housewife. We're a family of 3, Oliver, who's 3 years younger than me, and our 2-year-old daughter. I met Oliver at work. He was the new guy, and I became his mentor. He was charming, persistent even when corrected, and hardworking. And oh, was he good-looking. It seemed like people were always gathering around him, drawn to his idol-like beauty and outgoing personality. I was dedicated to my job and didn't even wear makeup. I'd never had a boyfriend, so I didn't think someone as attractive and well-liked as Oliver would ever be interested in me. Nonetheless, I started watching makeup tutorials, even got some fashion tips from stylish friends, and tried to become the kind of woman he'd find appealing. About 6 months after my transformation began, he noticed.
You look really beautiful lately. Found someone special?
I was speechless. He followed up with,
Would you consider making me that special someone?
Of course I said yes. We started dating and got married within a year. Marrying Oliver felt like a teenage dream, and I naively thought, he must be my soulmate. But reality proved otherwise. Even when we were dating, Oliver was a bit of a baby, always looking for affection. Whether it was holding hands, cuddling, or even paying the bill at restaurants, it always fell on me. I thought, why can't you do it yourself? But when he would plead,
Please, Sophia, you're the only one I can ask,
I would always give in. Maybe it was his good looks or his unique sweet charm that made me so accommodating. After we married, the responsibilities became more lopsided. Even though both of us worked, the household chores were all on me. The finances, about 70% from me and 30% from him. He spent what was left of his income after household expenses all on his hobbies, seemingly without saving a dime. I was mostly saving the remainder of my income, thinking of our future home and children. At first I thought, well, he lived with his parents and I lived alone, so it's understandable that we have different experience levels when it comes to chores. Besides, he earns less than I do, so it makes sense. And he's still young, probably not thinking about the future yet. But even when I got pregnant, Oliver's lifestyle didn't change. Doing household chores while pregnant was really tough. On top of the exhaustion from working during pregnancy, morning sickness hit me hard in the first trimester. In the third trimester, it was difficult even to bend over, and just standing was tiring. Yet Oliver never offered to help. Worse, when I hinted that I could use some help, he'd say,
I'm so grateful for you, Sophia. I'm not good with housework, so I'm lucky to have married you.
Undermining my will to ask for help. Maybe it was my fault for enabling him, but even after our daughter was born, Oliver didn't change. I quit my job after giving birth, and it was understood that I would handle both the baby care and household chores. Yet Oliver would still stay out late, hang out with friends, and go on trips as if he were single. Still, I forgave him everything because of the occasional kind words and the annual birthday trips he took me on. I guess when our daughter grows up, he'll realize the importance of family, I thought. I realized how naive I'd been when our daughter turned 2. I was attending a high school friend's wedding that day. I had wanted to leave our daughter with Oliver, but as usual, he had plans. So I left her with my mom. The wedding was in a chapel in Boston, and the reception was at a French restaurant that had several large private rooms. My foodie friend had chosen this venue long ago. The wedding went smoothly, but while transitioning to the reception, I saw him. He was walking arm in arm with a woman in a chic black dress, looking more than just friendly. I couldn't stand to be at the reception after that, and made an excuse about our daughter being sick to leave early. The image of them haunted me. Oliver had said he was
going on a trip with an old college friend,
but I suspected infidelity. I knew Oliver had many female friends, but this was different. His
old college friend
was supposed to be a man, and he definitely hadn't gone on any bike trip. Lying to meet up with another woman was suspicious. If he had been lying to me all along, then my resentment surged. Even when I was struggling with house chores during morning sickness, or overwhelmed by new motherhood, was he cheating on me? I couldn't take it anymore. My love for him instantly cooled, and I resolved to expose his affair once and for all. I called my parents to keep my daughter for one more day. Debating whether to tell the truth, I decided to wait until I had proof and lied about being sick. The next day, I visited a private investigator. I handed over Oliver's photos, shared his workplace details, and his background. I need you to dig deep into his life, I requested. The private investigator advised,
act normal around Oliver until I finish my investigation. Make sure he doesn't suspect anything.
I didn't want to look at Oliver's face, so right after picking up my daughter, I retreated to our bedroom. When he came home late that night, he saw me and asked,
"What's wrong? Are you okay?"
His voice pretended concern. Had this been the me from a couple days ago, I might have felt loved and comforted by his words, but knowing the truth, they meant nothing to me. 2 weeks later, the private investigator contacted me.
Oliver has been having an affair for the past 2 years,
he said. The other woman was a married, older nurse. The restaurant where I spotted them, a regular haunt for their monthly rendezvous, which had been ongoing for about 2 years. I was shocked that she was married, but according to the investigator,
nurses work shifts, making it easier to conceal an affair.
What shocked me even more was that this nurse worked at the hospital where my daughter was born. It may be a coincidence, but it is the same hospital as my 2-year-old daughter. Something felt creepily coincidental about the affair lasting 2 years and us having a 2-year-old daughter. That day, I decided to divorce Oliver and started plotting a plan.
I'm staying at my junior colleague's place in Chicago for the night. Make sure you clean the house, Oliver told me.
Normally, I'd be annoyed that he pushed spring cleaning on me during a busy time, but I smiled, secretly relishing my own scheme. Take care, see you later.
Sure, I'll bring back souvenirs.
Holding our daughter, I waved goodbye. Oliver seemed oblivious. Back inside, I told my daughter, "We're going on a trip. Let's go see the ocean." My daughter, who loves fish, cheered, "Yay, ocean!" First, let's take a little nap. I laid her down for a nap and continued my preparations. I had been packing my bags and Oliver's, making sure he wouldn't notice, but I couldn't touch our bedroom or living room items, so I sorted them into boxes. Finally, I disassembled the baby crib, laid my daughter in her stroller, and called the movers. My stuff went to my parents' home, and Oliver's got discarded. Apart from the built-in appliances, the apartment was empty. I headed to a hotel overlooking the ocean in another state, somewhere my daughter had always wanted to visit. Our travel essentials had already arrived in the room. My daughter kept saying, "Yay, ocean!" as she looked out the window. Watching the sun set over the sea, I felt a mix of sadness and relief. Exhausted from packing and the journey, we went to bed early. Before sleeping, I sent Oliver an email, a picture of him and his mistress. Despite sleeping early the night before, I still slept until midday. When I rushed to check on my daughter, she was gripping the crib bars and looking at the ocean with such focus that I had to laugh. I had planned to eat out for lunch, but since my daughter couldn't tear herself away from the window, I ordered room service. My daughter was clearly enamored with her fish-themed kids meal and took her sweet time eating it, but she looked happy throughout. Just then, I received a call from Oliver. He must have seen the photo I'd sent him last night of him with his mistress. Ignoring the call, I texted him, "I have no plans to live with you anymore. Best of luck with your new love interest." More calls from Oliver kept coming in. Annoyed, I blocked his number. After finally finishing lunch, I took my daughter to play by the sea. By the time we got back to the hotel, it was already dark outside. Checking my neglected phone, I saw that my brother had tried to reach me. I called him back but got no answer. 15 minutes later, he called again. According to him, Oliver had rushed home to our empty apartment after reading my email. Apparently, Oliver then went to my parents' house thinking I'd be there. But I was on vacation with our daughter, so only my fuming parents and brother were there after they heard about Oliver's affair. My brother chuckled, saying Oliver looked so down it was actually funny. Oliver got chewed out by my parents, and as he was leaving, my brother told him,
"All future communications will go through my attorney,"
and handed him a business card. Oliver apparently tried to punch my brother, saying,
"Don't make decisions for me."
This was something I'd asked my brother to do, so it wasn't just his unilateral decision. My brother dodged the punch and Oliver stumbled, slamming his shoulder into the doorway. He was in so much pain that my brother took him to the hospital, where he was diagnosed with a compound fracture and is currently in surgery. During all this, my brother had managed to collect Oliver's mobile phone. It was in my name because I'd been footing most of Oliver's bills.
"Just skimmed through it and saw some pretty outrageous messages, haha,"
my brother said. Apparently, there were messages from Oliver like,
"We'll be apart for a while, but let's hang in there."
"I only love you, so I won't have another affair. Do the same for me." The next morning, my daughter and I had a lot of fun at the beach. Tired out, I left her with my mother at my parents' home and went to see Oliver in the hospital. I didn't really want to see him, but his parents were visiting, and I felt this was the only chance to settle things. Upon arriving, Oliver's parents, who'd heard everything, looked at me apologetically but said nothing. As I walked into the hospital room, Oliver began blurting out,
"Sophia, it's not what you think. It's like prostitution."
He claimed that he was only helping the woman financially in exchange for her pretending to be his girlfriend. According to Oliver, there was no emotional involvement. It was just for money, and they'd only been together twice, including the time I'd caught them. Frustrated but not surprised, I asked, "So, where's the money then?" Pausing, Oliver finally said,
It hasn't been transferred yet. It was supposed to happen after the third time."
His clearly false statement just left me in disbelief. I wasn't even angry anymore. I hurled the additional proof photos I'd brought just in case at him. Upon seeing the photos, mother-in-law broke down crying. Ignoring the distraught mother-in-law, I slammed the pre-filled divorce papers down in front of a stunned Oliver. "I'm done with your lies. We're getting a divorce. I'll live with our daughter. We'll sort out the details like child support and asset division through lawyers later. I said, exiting the hospital room. Oliver's plea,
"Wait, you're misunderstanding,"
fell on deaf ears. I felt incredibly relieved. When I returned to discuss my claims against Oliver, the attorney chuckled and told me he'd been assigned to represent Charlotte's, Oliver's affair partner's now ex-husband, which made for an awkward situation. To address the financial matters after the divorce, Oliver and I agreed on no division of assets but a one-time payment of $30,000. We also decided he'd pay $300 a month in child support for the next 16 years, until our daughter turns 18. If Oliver ever missed a payment, he'd have to pay the entire amount up front. My lawyer took care of the discussions, so I didn't have to see Oliver's face. A face I once loved, but now never wanted to see again. Oliver apparently said things like,
"I want to get back together,"
and
"I can't live without Sophia."
according to my lawyer, not once did he mention our daughter in all of this. After the divorce, I found remote work I could do from my parents' home while raising our daughter. She started preschool and was making progress with her speech. She never really talks about Oliver, probably because she doesn't remember spending time with him. My lawyer informed me that Oliver had abruptly paid the full child support amount. Shocked, I learned from my lawyer that Oliver had lost his job after his affair was leaked to his company by Charlotte's husband. He started working in a nightclub and met a wealthy patron who agreed to take care of him, including paying off his child support debt. "Oliver connecting with other women is unacceptable," the patron had said. My lawyer chuckled as he told me how Oliver showed up dressed to the nines, handing over the full amount in cash. 5 years later, when my daughter was in 2nd grade, the police contacted me. Oliver had been arrested for theft and had named me as his emergency contact. At first, I wanted to decline, but the officer persuaded me, saying,
"Maybe just talk to him once."
Oliver looked frail when I saw him. His once handsome face was now haggard. Turns out the wealthy patron was married and chose to reconcile with her husband after their affair was discovered. I thought to myself, Oliver likes only people like that. She demanded Oliver pay back the compensation and support she had given him. Thrown out of his apartment, penniless, Oliver resorted to theft.
"I need your help,"
he pleaded.
"I'm sorry, Sophia is all I have left."
But hearing his story, it all sounded like his own doing. I declined to act as his emergency contact and gave the police his parents' phone number before heading home. Apparently, his parents also refused to get involved, which means Oliver could face real jail time, even as a first-time offender. The police informed me, but my decision remained the same. I have no intentions of rekindling things with Oliver, nor do I want to drag myself into this mess. People have suggested that I should remarry now that my daughter is older, but I know better. The experience with Oliver taught me that I can't trust my own judgment when it comes to people. I won't jeopardize my precious daughter's well-being. Fortunately, she has grown into a good person, even without a father figure. Though she's a bit rebellious lately and doesn't want to hold my hand, that's okay. I cherish the life I have now, living with my daughter and my parents.